Hello everyone, welcome to the Microsoft Certification Bootcamp series. This is Lakshit Pant, your host for today. Here again with you, all you. I'm working with Azure Developer Community as a contributor, and today I'm gonna host this bootcamp that is an initiative of Azure Developer Community. We are in 114 plus cities, organizing and helping student community to build and create all around the Azure. And this is the second day of our bootcamp of Microsoft AZ 900. So this syllabus is offered by Microsoft Azure only. So we will cover the basics and the fundamentals of Microsoft Azure fundamentals. And today we are going to discuss about core Microsoft Azure services in the day two. Before starting, I just have some couple of announcements. I just wanted to announce the winners for yesterday's giveaway. So I have seen some phenomenal comments right over there. So I'm just pasting the LinkedIn profiles of those people whom comment was really cool, or maybe it's not about the comment but you have written the comment. I just picked up some random names over there, so you can get a chance to win today and a day after tomorrow also, or tomorrow also. So don't be don't be wonder like it's something specific criteria, something like that. It's totally fine. So the first winner is Venkat Ram Saripella. I'm Harish Venkat Ram Saripella. I have shared the LinkedIn profile in the comment section. Okay. Second is Tanusri Hajare is our second winner for the Azure boot, we can say, giveaway. And the third one is Suman Pallavali. We have these three winners for our giveaway, for the giveaway that we have organized, means announced yesterday. So you can just text us over LinkedIn. We will be giving you some free credit vouchers, Azure credit vouchers. So you can just explore Azure more. You can just start your journey with our Azure more, and learn from Prashant sir and execute what Prashant sir is going to tell you all around the Azure. So I'm not gonna waste much more time. I'll just quickly share the stage with Prashant sir. And Prashant sir, over to you, sir.
Hey, thanks. So let me quickly share my screen, and
Sure,
I
sir.
would like to congratulate to the guys who get the free voucher, and who are still in the queue. Stay tuned. You also get the voucher, and explore the Azure Azure, so that everything, everyone knows that practice make man perfect, right? The same way, do the practice. Even you get the voucher or not, you should enroll for your own free subscription, and do the practice, and learn the technology. So let me know recap about our yesterday session, and who joined for today's session, and those people miss yesterday. So I will recommend it to you, go and watch the session on the YouTube, where on the community channel we have already posted. So that will help you out to understand the basic concepts of the Azure that we have discussed yesterday. And that is more important when you are learning some some network technology. So you should be aware about that, the basic part of that particular technologies. So just go and watch that video. And as we discussed, yesterday, we gone through the cloud part, what are the cloud, and how the offerings are, and the types, and how we can deploy, and how we can you know implement the solution very quickly based on our cloud journey, right? So today what we will do, I definitely say that yesterday there was lots of theoretical part, because we just gone through the PPT and everything. But those part are important. That's why we just used to go for the PPT, because no one want to go for the PPT and everything, because we are in a generation where we think, we we believe in the practical thing, where we will get the result. So today's session will be like the same way, where the 20% PPT, that's important to learn those particular terms and technology, and most about the part will be go on to the Azure portal. So let's start with the the our PPT. That's where we, and what we are going to be cover in this particular today's session. So today's session, it's totally based on the Azure workload product that's we are going to spin. When it's come to the product, So what are the product that's available on the Azure offerings, like starting from your compute, your network storage, and everything that we are going to touch to the most used resources from the Azure cloud by the most of the organization. So we will discuss about Azure virtual machine, Azure web app, and container instance. Then we will discuss about virtual network, VPN gateways, how we can configure, and how we can what's the benefit of that, and where we need to utilize that things. Then we will discuss about the SQL database, and where you will get option to create those resources, and we can visit to the Azure marketplace also. So let's now start with Azure Compute Service, like the way we have discussed yesterday's session. So whenever we are creating any kind of resources that consuming the compute resources, so for those kind of resources where the your CPU, your memory, and your storage comes into the picture, and combination of all these resources, whatever the application you are running on top of this particular platform, for those kind of platform we called as an compute services. So on the your screen we have the resources like your we have the virtual machine, it's the compute resources. Okay, we have the web app server, even it is platform as in service, but underlying, like there will be some VMs running on these platform. That's not we don't have access on that, but Microsoft managing it for us. So somewhere where our application get installed, your application, whatever the application get installed here, we will get access to that particular path where we can check out that whatever I have deploy on that particular system, that is accessible or not. So only that kind of access we will get on this particular app services. But underlying things is that your the compute service, that's the whole idea behind this. Even your container, whatever the container you run, even it is standalone container, or maybe you if you go and spin up the AKS, underlying is the compute. So it's pretty simple, like whatever we are running, even the platform of service, everything is on the compute. Where some point of if it is based on the IIS, we should have the control, because we are configuring it. And if it is platform as a service, so Microsoft managing it, and we just working on our build a solution. Okay. Even last year Microsoft come with Windows desktop service, where we can leverage the desktops and everything, so we can touch into that point also. So in a compute service, famous and everyone aware about that, when someone says that I'm learning the cloud and everything, so everyone will start with the virtual machine. So let's we will also touch to the virtual machine, and take the virtual machine is nothing but the system that we are running on the someone else platform, here the Microsoft. Okay, so to run the particular virtual machine, what we require, just look into the system from where you are currently attending this particular session. You have the system in front of you. On there your system, you have the processor, you have the memory of that your system. And the same way you have the storage, where your data is storing, or maybe your extra application that you are installing, that will be stored on that particular place. So same way we are just we have to replicate this particular environment on the cloud side, where we are creating it virtually, where we will not able to see the how the storage is, how's the memory is. We cannot touch it, but we can utilize it. So when it's come to the VM creation and everything, so it's very simple and basic component where we can spin up the VM and start utilizing it. So whatever the things coming on the VM, and if you're creating the VM, and you're installing the application on that, so that solution is we called as in the IIS services. That's what we learned yesterday's session. Okay, so make sure that whatever the virtual machine you are created, and if you are running something on that, That's the IaaS offering. And we need to be more specified, like when we down the line you maybe provide the solution to your organization. So that time you should be aware about that, what solution is what, and when we want to provide the solution matched to our use cases. So that's the one thing about the virtual machine. And when we come to the virtual machine scale set, so like standalone virtual machine that we have just seen, like we'll create a one virtual machine and we are putting down the application on that particular virtual machine, and that can serving the purpose. But like some use cases where my application is vast and I want to be have a parallel machine that can serve the my application, right? So in that case, Microsoft has the solution called as the VMSS, virtual machine skill set. So using this particular virtual machine skill set, whatever the application you are installing, that will be replicate on your virtual machines that are the part of the skill set. So like in this particular virtual machine skill set, we can define in the way, like we can auto scale this particular virtual machine, scale out, and you can scale in based on the resource requirement. The way I have explained yesterday, like consider that you are the organization where you are running one campaign, and you are aware that during that particular campaign your workload will be huge. So like in whatever the your workload for the entire year, that is something different. But within in between your campaign, your workload will be you cannot be expected how much workload that will be visit to your application. Okay, so in that case, if you have the IaaS based solution where you are keeping out these application on the VM virtual machine scale set, so you can define that particular virtual machine scale set for the auto scale, scale out and scale in. When I set the scale out, consider that you have the virtual machine, like it's the part of your VMSS. Okay, and now you have defined some threshold, like if I said that if traffic coming to towards my application, and if the CPU usage and the RAM count for the bunch of these particular VMs hits to 80%. Okay, so in that case I can automate the scale out for this particular virtual machine, so that whatever the number you have defined, like one, two, or three, like if the count threshold hit to the 80%, and you if you said that put down two more machines to balance your load for your application, so it will be work like that way. So for this terminology we called as scale out. Okay, and once you feel that, like if I define like 60% or maybe 50%. Okay, if the CPU usage, maybe RAM usage goes below to 50%, then scale into the whatever the actual number that I have defined, my desired state for my application, where how much resources I require, it will be scale into that particular resource level. So this is how we can achieve in the virtual machine skill set, how we can scale out it and scale in it. And when we need to scale it out, you can do it by manually, you can do it by automated way. There are two options available here. It's depend on your use case, like if you are not aware that how much traffic will come to your application and consume your application, and if you are running some campaign, and if you know that it will blast the market, and people will definitely reach out to these servers. So in that case you cannot go with the a manual way where we can you know manually add one systems in your skill set. So you can in that time automate it, so that the solution will can work it out for you to scale it out and scale in whenever it required. So this is how VMSS works. So this solution like we took the example for you know IaaS based solution where we are deploying something, but this is what the solution that will be underlying for your AKS server. Microsoft also, whenever you can create the AKS on below the bottom of that particular AKS server, VMSs would be there, where we can automate the things for your AKS cluster also. So it can always maintain your desired state for your application. So we will as I said, 20% your your PPT, and we will work on the practical part where we can spin up the resources and do the practicals and everything. So that's what the time. So this is what your Azure subscription. Whenever you log in, you will be logging into your homepage, or maybe you will land into your dashboard, whatever you set for your default. So now we what we can do, we will create the virtual machine, like how we can create it, and we can how we can configure it. We can uh, do in that way. Okay, but before creating the virtual machine, we require the your resource group that need to be created. If I come here into the resource group, so you can create any resource group by clicking on the create a resource group tab here. You have to specify the resource name. I'm giving the random name here. uh, Let me give the demo 2022, and you have to specify the region where you want to keep this particular resource group. So you need to mention that. The another tab here is the tag. Let's discuss little bit about the tags, why tag is important. Like, as we discuss, capital expenditure and your the operation expenditure, right? The same way, like when you want to build to the someone, so in that case we required something in a system. From that, we can define the bills and everything. For that matter, we can define the tax. Even we, like, while we are creating the resources in the subscription, and if that particular subscription is the shared subscription, like 2 3 teams are utilizing that particular subscription to build their solution on that particular subscription. In that case, how we can segregate, or maybe identify which resource belong to whom. So in that case, this taggings comes into the picture, where you have to define the tags. Like I can define the application app, and if I said that the demo app, so you will be aware about that. This particular demo app is belong to whom, because every organization have the inventory for their application, whatever the application they have, and the ownership for that particular application. So according to this particular tags, we can uh, provide, we can identify the resource, like the resource belong to whom. Then when it's come to the billing also, we can utilize this tag feature in our billing, where we can segregate our billing based on the tag, and we can assign the bill for that particular resources to that team. Okay, so that's what the tagging. Just make sure that tagging importance once you comes to the corporate world, because of this tagging, your 80% work of the bill assignment and everything will be solved. So let's click on the next, where where the Azure can validate your configuration. When I said the Azure, that is nothing but your ARM SDK, that you validate whatever you pass, is it correct or not. Then everything get pass, and during this process it will also see what are the policy applies to your subscription. And if all this policy is passed, configuration passed, then it will say that validation is passed. Then you have to click on the create that particular resource group. So it will create the resource group for you the way. So this is how the way we can create the single resource. But we seen it from the portal, and now we know that, what are the basic requirement to create the particular resource, right? So same way, like if I want to create this particular resource by using the CLI, right? So what we have defined in our while we are doing from the portal, we have defined the name of resource group and the location. Okay, when we are doing from this particular CLI, now if you have the one subscription, then that's good, like it will be hit to your particular subscription. But if you have multiple subscription, in that case, when you log into your console, that time you have to specify your login, and you have to specify your particular subscription where you want to run this particular jobs. So here now we will try to create all these resources using Azure CLI command. So the command is pretty simple. It start with the Azure. You can you know call it as a Azure, then group. Why, what we are going to create, the group we are going to create, then the action it mentioned here, create action, then we are passing the name and the name of that resource group that you want to create, and the location. So just you just need to run this particular command, and it will create the resource group for you. Okay, once you start running it, it will check the validation and everything, and it will create the resource group for you. So now this is what the output for our particular command that we have run to create the resource group. If you see here, it will give you the object id, entire object id, where we have mentioned the demo resource group. Okay, and the location is also mentioned here. Whatever we are seeing, it's on the you know on our terminal. Let's validate it from the portal also, like does it really created or not. If you see here, this is what the resource group just we have created, right? This is what the way we can create it using the portal, or you can utilize the CLI also. You can also utilize the ISA as a code, infrastructure as a code. That's you can build, like the basic thing you should aware about, that what are the required information you need to pass when it's come to the CLI, or maybe when it's come to your ISC as a code. You, like you need to do the practice on the portal side, then you can slowly move on toward the your CLI part, or maybe infrastructure as a code. Because on the market, if you go with the only cloud knowledge, then definitely you will be land into the somewhere else, where you have to do the operation work. And I don't think so now people want to be do the operational work. They required the people has the courage to learn the new technology, and they can they can learn whatever they want to be, and they can land into the best position. So suggestion is simple: start with portal, then slowly move towards the ISC as a code. That's why I'm picking up here the ISC as a CLI also, and the ISC code also, so that you will be familiar about that. Now we have created the resource group, right? The same way we have to create the virtual machine. That's what our primary task here. So let me click on this particular resource group, whatever that we have created. And here we are going to create the virtual machine. To create the virtual machine, you can click here, create button, where you will land into the marketplace. So if you see the marketplace, so you will get the services, and your private marketplace and everything you will get to see here. Okay, let me again create here, click here. So you can search in this particular window what you want to create. Like I can type the virtual machine. Okay. So I will get the option to create the virtual machine. I can select it from here, and I can create it. But if you also type here this way, here I will also get the virtual machine. Okay, both are the same way. Choose the right path for you, whatever compatible for you, just use it and create it. So if you click here also, so it will land into this particular virtual machine, where you will get to know that what are the resources currently available that's belongs to the virtual machine. You can see here, and you can create also. So you just click on the virtual machine. So it will prompt up with the basic tab. So in the basic tab, we have to provide the configuration for our virtual machine. Okay. The same way we require to fill the subscription, right subscription, you need to choose where we have to create the virtual machine. The next one is your resource group. That's what we have created from the portal, right? So utilize that particular resource group. You have to specify the name for this virtual machine. So I will give the name demo VM1. Okay. Then the location. Even you created the resource group on East US2, right? But it's not necessary what are the other resources you are going to create in that particular resource group. That should be from any location. That's not the limitation from like you to be stick to the um, resource group location base, right? But the standard practice we follow, like if the resource group is belongs to any region, so we can create the resources based all the resources from the same location. But when it's come to the dr and everything, when disaster recovery and everything for your application, that time you can based on the if you have the single resources and you are utilizing the shared subscription, in that case you can do according to the use case. But best practice, create the resources resource group and keep the resources that's matched to that particular resource group, the idea behind that creating that particular resource group. So that's the one thing. Here I'm going to put down this particular resource group into, let me put down into east us2. Okay. Then we have to define the availability option that we have discussed in yesterday's session. What are the availability option and everything? So you can choose the availability option, like how we can define, like do you want to keep this particular virtual machine in the availability set or not. So you can define, but for this particular lecture I'm not going to create it, but this is what the option from where you can create it. And you need to create the availability set first, and then you can add the VMs into that particular availability set. But this is not the case, like if you have the VMs already available, and then you can create the availability set and then put down these VMs into the availability set. So that's not going to be work. You should be have the plan where you are going to utilize the availability set, then you create the availability set, then add the VMs into that particular availability set. Okay, this is how it's work. Then the security type, this is we'll pick its standard. And this is there are another topic, separate topic about the security and everything, but it's in the advanced course. What are the basic security that we required, we can cover those things in this particular boot camp. Now comes to the image is nothing but we are defining here like which operating system we required. Like do you require the Windows operating system, do you require the Red Hat, Ubuntu? Based on your requirement, you have to choose here, like which operating system you want to pick here. So let me click here and create the Windows base. Okay. So we have selected here image Windows Server 2012 Data Center Edition. Okay. Then we have to define the size, like size is your scope. So it's saying that what are the size, by default picked by this particular configuration, that is the size of standard b2 vm b2 ems. It has 2 cpu, 8 GB RAM. Okay. And even here it's showing that how much it will be cost for 1 month for you. Okay. If you click here, see all sizes. So it will give you the option to see, like how many sizes currently available, VM sizes available. Based on your requirement, you have to choose it. Okay. So if you have the requirement with 16 GB of RAM, okay, and you required at least uh, it has 4 CPU, but you require more CPU. In that case, you can go through all this series of sizing and choose according to your requirement and select the one that you want. So for our demo, we can take it whatever the basic, because we want to keep our billing on the lower side. So just make sure that whenever you get the list of the resources, what kind of resources you required, and for that particular resource list, if your particular SKU is not matching to your requirement, then just go through all these list. That's why I shown you this option where you can find it out. Okay, then here we have to specify the username, so that we can log in with that particular user. So I'm putting here Azure user, and I'm passing the password for this one. So password, at least it should be 12 character. It has one uppercase, it has one special character, and it will not pick the random number. Okay, that make sure that don't put down in like December at 2022, and this kind of combination it will not take it, because of the there are the lots of policies and security compliances applied on this particular resources, so that you cannot be pick the password that easily cracked by the hacker. So that's what the security and other parts managed by the Microsoft for us, because they don't want to lose their customer, because someone hacks their resources, because consumer put down the bad password, not a bad password, very small password, who can anyone can easily guess and everything. That's why we need to put down the password in that sense. Otherwise it will be not accept, it will give you again and again prompt like password is not matched to the policies. So make sure that whenever you are creating the virtual machine by ISA as in code, it will be very difficult to run every time your code, and then see again and again seeing the same kind of error saying that password not matching to the policy and everything. So password will be 12 character, and it should be one uppercase, lowercase, and one special character that need to be there. Then another setting is public inbound, like organization. If you want as an organization to place your application on the internet facing, then you can choose the option for the public IP, where your VMs and application get exposed on the internet. If you want to make it private, then just click on none, so it will not assign any public IP for your VM. So for our case, we will go with the public IP, and we have to define here the port, that is RDP port, that we need to be open, because even it we are assigning the public IP, but I need to take the remote of this particular virtual machine from my system, like over the internet. So I require this RDP port should be open, right? Now this is what the option where you are accepting the licensing in terms of the whatever the licensings that required for to run this particular image of Windows server. Okay, so what are the costing for that particular licensing that you are accepting, and that will be included in your billing part also. Okay, so just accept this confirmation and click on the next button, where you will get option to define your disk related option. Okay, so when it's come to the disk, it's nothing but storage for your virtual machine. We can define here what are the storage available. We have the premium, standard, and standard SSD options here. And basically, like you are aware about that SSD is more faster than your HSD, right? So based on your requirement, you need to pick this particular configuration, and then you have to define the keys and everything for this particular VM. Okay, this disk set. You can also add the extra disks from here. Okay, if you have already disks created in the your subscription, you can add it from here. But for our use cases, we just going to create the virtual machine. So and we will I will tell you like what are the option is really important here when it's come to the privacy part, and to create the virtual machine in the proper manner. Once you define the DX level, then it's come to the networking part where we have to define the networking. But I'm not going to touch this particular part because we are going to learn about the networking in the separate lecture. So I'm just skipping it in the management side where we have to define the option. If you see here, identity option here, like you, if you want to add it, login with your Azure ID and everything, you can configure it from here. And this is what the option that you need to keep in mind, like auto shutdown if you are working in your lab environment. So you can shut down your system automatically. You can define your time or whatever the time you want to utilize it, and after that particular time it will be automatically shut down, so that you can save some cost for your VMs. If you are in corporate also, like if you have the development machine, like till the time developer have there in the office, till that time we require that development machine, right? After office hours you can define or make a, you can configure the script here on the VM, so that after office hours it will be shut down. So whenever your developer comes into the office, he will manually start that particular VM, or you can develop the script where every morning it will start your developer VMs according to the needs. Okay, it's only for the cost cutting and everything, how we can do it in environment. Then click on the monitoring part if you want to know have the monitoring for your particular VMs, where like if you see diagnostic boot, like it will give you the option to manage your VMs if something goes wrong on your VM. And if you want to do some troubleshooting, that time you will get this boot diagnostic option useful to manage your VMs and everything. When it comes to the IaaS based services, we never know what goes wrong with the VM. And if you want to do those kind of troubleshooting, so just enable this option, so that you will get more advantage of troubleshooting and everything. In advanced tab, you can define here the execution, like if you want some application, or maybe something need to be run when the virtual machine get created. You want some script that need to be run, and that can configure your VMs the way you want. Like my VM should pick this particular time zone and everything. Then small script that can create some resources, or whatever the things that required. Or maybe if you are running through the pipeline and you have to put down your application, for that particular application you require some data, like folder structure need to be created, so that it will push down the code according to that particular folder structure. So that kind of script you can define here. Once your VM get ready, the script will be run, and it will create the that structure for you. Then your next pipeline will run. It can push down the code according to the structure that you have defined. So just think in that way, like whatever the script you have to run, you can run from here. If you are doing from the portal, if you are doing from the IC as a code, there is another option where you have to mention the script that need to be run. You should be ready with the script that will pick at the time of the deployment. Again, tagging here, you have to define the tag if you want to be, and then you need to submit it for the review and everything. Once it get review and validate, we will create this particular virtual machine. Now it's showing that its validation is completed. Then just click on this create button, so it will start creating this particular resource for you. So till the time it get started, we can see how we can do it from the ISC as a code. Like if I want to create the virtual machine using the ISC code, right? So we have already created these particular resource group. Now what can I do? I will add the virtual machine in this particular resource group. So command is very simple. The way we have defined, like here, as a VM. So what resource we are going to type? It will start with this that particular way. So we are creating the virtual machine. So as a VM, operation is the create. You can define it, delete. You can go through the list of the CLI command, so you will get all the option. So here the operation is that we are going to create the virtual machine here. Then resource group, the resource group that we have created, demo resource group, right? Here we have to define the name for our virtual machine, what virtual machine we are going to create here, and here we have to define the image. That's what we did into the portal also, right? Is it in simple, like the way we are doing from the portal, but we have to click here and there, we have to mention everything. Writing is, I feel that it is very less clicks, and we can define the way we can reuse for the next deployment also. So here we have to define the public IP SKU that we have defined. Then we have passed the uh, username as an Azure user, and I'm passing here the password also. Don't utilize this password because I will delete this particular virtual machine after our session get over. Just copy this particular command and put it down here. Click on the enter. So it will start creating the resource group for sorry, a VM for you. Okay. Okay, this is what the known error. Just note it down somewhere, like ARM resource not found. This is something happen when your a particular system, like your ARM not get updated, or maybe some conflict in the connection and everything. So no need to worry. Like if your command is not run, we can try. We can reboot our system, or maybe try again and try to reinstall the CLI, and it will be work. So for our case, what we can do, this our VM is ready. Let me know. Run this particular command, and we can side by side create this virtual machine for you, and then we can reach out to this option to see this VM that we have created from the portal. Okay. So this is what the cloud shell, yesterday we discussed, like if something not going on your system, we can utilize this for testing purpose and everything, or maybe do some little bit work on the Azure side. And I most of the time, it's blocked in the corporate environment, but because of some security and some glitches issue, but some organization can give you chance to use it, but in your production, sorry, in your lab environment, you have full access on that. So utilize it whenever you get such kind of error and everything, to deploy your VM. So let me put down the command, like this is how it's look like. And I'm just clicking on the button. So let's say it will start creating the resource for you, no matter. And don't be afraid, like why this looking like this. This is how it's look. Sometime it's work properly, it's look good, but sometime it will be like looks like something, some text go here and there. So if your command is good, that will be run anyhow. So it's starting deploying our virtual machine in the resource group that we have created from the CLI. So let's move into the another tab, that this is what we have deployed from our uh, portal, right? So let me know, explore this particular resource group and VM. Okay, what we have given the name for the VM, this is what the name, right? Demo VM1. It has this particular IP address, right? Let me try to RDP to this particular virtual machine. Let me type MSTSC. It will create RDP connection. Oh, I need this IP, public IP. And you have to define the username and password for this particular VM that we have provided at the time of creating the VM. It's Azure user and the password. So it will ask for the certificate and everything. Just click on the yes. So it will prompting to connect to your VM. So this is what the VM we have created from the portal. Let me log in into this particular VM to see that how it's look like. It's just like your another computer on computer. Okay, let's it load the profile. Okay. So this is what the look of your virtual VM. So you can do the task that you want to you need to install any server based services, or maybe you want to deploy your application. You can access it and do it. Or maybe when it's come to corporate life, you have to maintain the ISC as a code. CI/CD will be will be comes into the picture to create this particular VMs and deploying the VMs and everything. But basic part is that you should aware about that, how we can create from the portal. What are the basic detail required to create the resources, and how it's work. So this is what the VM we have created from our portal. Now let's see what's happened to our another deployment that we did from the uh, CLI. So that particular also deployment is also successful. If you see here, VM's power state showing running. This is what the public IP assigned to this particular VM. And let me, this is what the VM group, resource group where it is created. So let's move on to the portal and see, like is it landed on the same resource group or not, on how we what's the configuration. If you see here, our VM one is also created. And you can log in into that particular virtual machine, and the same way we have defined, like both are the good ways to do. But when it's come to your ISC code, you can reuse the code. You just need to copy this code and change some, if you made it in the parameter ways, so you can change the VM name. You can define the username according to you, and you can reuse this particular code to deploy multiple VMs also, right? This is what the beauty of when it's come to the CLI, or maybe ISC as a code, where we can reuse the code for the multiple deployment and everything. So VM, like we have defined the VM here, like how the VM we can create and how it's look like, right? Same way, if you want to create the virtual machine skill set, this is what your virtual machine skill set. The way you can created your VM, the same way you can create your virtual machine skill set also, right? You have to define here the resource group. Then you have to provide the name for here, demo app. Then you have to define the location. The availability set you can define here, where how many coffee and where you want to keep your VMs if something goes wrong with regional basis and everything. So how what are the chances to your application be alive and can serve the application purpose. Then you have to define the orchestration mode. If you want to do uniform or with the flexible, depend on the application, you can decide it here. The the image for this particular virtual machine skill set, like if you want to go with the VM that is Windows based or the Linux based, and it's totally depend on your application, like what the on which language your application get developed, and where you want to install it. Okay. So quickly, this is what it. And then you have to define the sizing the same way. This is for the one set of the VM, like uh, how many your core need to be there on your particular VMs, that you have to define here. Then you have to specify the username here. Let me give the password also, and we can quickly create it. Just click on the offerings and click on the digs. Let me now move on this particular all the options that belongs to the networking, because we already seen it into the seen into the virtual machine while we are creating the virtual machine. But this is what the scaling option that we was talking yesterday, or maybe today also, about the skill set, like how we can scale out and scale in. Okay. So instance count, like when your virtual machine, this VM's virtual machine skill set get created, how many resources you required for this particular skill set. So I can define here three skill set. Okay, basic requirement. This is what my desired state for my VM virtual machine skill set. Like I can update, you know auto update as per my requirement, maybe manual update according to my requirement. But when it's come to the desired state, it should be at least 3 VM should be always running for to serve my application. Okay, scaling policy, currently we can place it manual, we can change it at any time. Okay, when it's come to the management, you can define the upgrade mode and everything for your application, but it's in the advanced topic that we can discuss sometime later. Then health and monitoring, if you want to have the application inside, and if you want to configure it, you can just click this option where you have to uh, pass the all the parameter and everything, because we are not installing anything on this particular VM, so I'm keeping it blank. But like according to the port and everything, you can define this health parameter that can so that your application get always a health check for your application. Like if take this example, like if it is http or http based, depend on, you can click here, you can define the port and your path of your application, where your vmss always get a probe to your particular backend, where see that is that vms running or not, it is getting reply from that particular vms or not. If something goes wrong with, it will replace that particular vm. Then click on the advanced setting, where we already discussed, like we can define the scripts and everything on this particular tab, and that's where you can create it. Then tagging part, then the review the code and everything, and then we can good to go to create this vm's virtual machine skill set. So just click on the create button, because our validation is get passed. So it's deployment, it is in progress, so let's wait for to get it deploy. So the same way, like we did it for the how we did it for the resource group creation and everything. The same way you can define the your code. I will suggest, like if you already created your subscription and everything, then go today and do your labs, where you can uh, create your virtual machine and your resource group by using the CLI. So get like, if you get your hand dirty, so that you will get learn very quickly. If you face any issue, then definitely it will be lesson learning and everything, to learn more things about, and to know more about that particular service, right? Because if the error comes, like currently when we were doing this particular deployment, I got the error, but I got used to that particular error, because when the first time I got that error, I was in the panic situation. Boss, I'm doing the all the things right way, and why am I I'm not able to create the virtual machine. But now I got to know that this is the known issue, and I knew that what are the reasons behind that, and what are the solution for that also, right? Let's see like what the status of our vms is. Now it's creating the three machines, so that way it will take the time. But we can see the resources. Let me duplicate this particular tab, and we can directly move into that particular resource group, where these particular resources are getting created. And here, if you see that your demo app virtual machine scale set is getting created, it's not created fully yet, but we can see, like what are the options, because we have to utilize our time in the right way. So here what resources, and it will show the your status of your resources. Now our desired state, what we have defined at least we require 3 VMs that cannot serve my application, right? Same way it will show you this status currently. not a single instant it's ready, right? So it's showing 0 out of 3. Once your server get created and configured, then you will get an option here, 3 out of 3 are running. Okay, even it get created, it will take a time to replicate here, because it will see the configuration and everything. Now it's showing up like all the status up, because we just created it and we haven't put down any application. If you put down the application, then definitely it will take more than 4 to 5 minutes to get your status ready, because it will probe to your VMs where your application running. If your application get the response, then it will show the status of your all the VMs. So this is what your desired state for the VM virtual machine skill set. Now coming to the option that we are all are interested in here. So whatever the configuration that we have defined, okay, so we can define the configuration, whatever the availability to make our application and everything, that we can make a configuration that you will get here to make something a modification and everything that we you need to do it. You can do it from here. We was discussing about the diagnostic boot, right? Now it's not enabled, but for the another VM, that's we have enabled it. So from that particular part, let me open the VM1. I hope on the VM1 we have boot diagnostic, not this one. Good. Let me go into the resource group, this virtual machine demo, and your boot diagnostic. So on this particular page, like we was discussing, like it will show you what exactly going on your VMs. So it will help you out to troubleshoot the your VMs. Once you install this particular if you create the configuration for the boot diagnostic, then you will get this particular option to see the what's going on. If it is fully stuck, then you will be not able to do anything on that particular VM. So we have the another option to troubleshoot and everything, right? But make sure that once you are create the diagnostic, you can download the screenshot and everything. It will help you out to even to raise the case with the Microsoft, like something goes wrong with your VM, and due to that your business is down, and Microsoft saying that you will get this and this much of the down uptime and everything, and in that particular period due to network or maybe something glitches on the Microsoft side. And if that is coming into the picture, so that way it will help you out to create the ticket and provide the required data to the Microsoft team, who is going to handle your use case and everything. Okay, that's for this particular one. And if I come to this, so about the sizing and everything, like even you pick down the size for any application. We yesterday we discussed about we can scale up your resources also, right? So whatever the resources currently you have, if that's not fulfill for you, just click on the another size, just click on the resize. So on the fly, what it will do, it will create the another type of resources for you, where you will get it. Now what we have picked the configuration here, it has the four CPUs, it has 16 GB of RAM, and data disk it will allow 8 data disk, and max IOPS and everything, that detail completely your hardware get changed for your virtual machine. So sizing you can do it from here. Okay, we discussed about the sizing and everything, and the same way we can leverage the this particular feature, where we require to scale up our resources and everything for the VM side. Then if I come here, so Here you will get the instances count and everything from your for your VMSs, like how many instances you have and what's the status, all are running or not. You can see it. Forget about the health because we haven't configured this health, but once you configure the health checkup for your backend, then definitely you will get the healthy status, or maybe if your system is not responding to your probe, then it will show the actual status that are going on to the system. Now the most important part for today's this VMSS is that your scaling. Like we discuss about, we can do the manual scaling, we do the auto scaling, everything. So this is what the option from where you can do the scaling and everything. So currently we said that our desired state is 3 VM. So if you want to do the manual, you can bump up the resources according to your requirement, right? So if you want to do the but so this is how it will look like. Am I audible, guys? Lakshit, I feel some glitch in the network. Okay, so let me know. Continue. Might be I am online. If you want to do it by the automatic update, so you can set it from here. Like you can set it like threshold and everything from this particular panel, so that you can auto update also your resources based on the requirement. So uh, just go through all these settings and everything. You can define your configuration, define your policies and everything. And if you feel that something is blocking you to create it, and if you're not getting understand, feel free to reach out to us, so that we can take it forward from that particular point, so that you will get more uh, details about that particular services. So yeah, I hope we are on the time, and that's it for the today. Tomorrow we can touch on the network related part. What are the network component and everything. Then we can discuss about the networking VPNs types and everything, and how we can configure it. We will discuss about the load balancer and everything, and how to configure it. So that's the way we can schedule for tomorrow. And that's it from my side. Lakshit, you there? Are you there, Lakshit?
I'm audible. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I'm audible, sir.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Yeah. So, sir, we have some questions in the screen. So, I'm just putting the first question from Pratik. Can we access this from both GUI and CLI? He's asking.
Can we access this from both? What exactly
Pratik,
you
can you
want to
please elaborate your question, like how traffic is handled in Azure VM?
Yeah, like when it's come to the traffic, like where the network comes into the picture, like how you configure the network and everything, right? So like take the example, like we have created the VM. On the top of that, you have the network, right? That we are going to discuss tomorrow, but let me explain here. So we have the network. Okay, if you want to keep your resources within the within your organization, where you are utilizing all the resources on the private network, then we can define the load balancer and everything top of that particular VM, so that whatever the traffic coming to your VM, that will go to your load balancer, and your load balancer can manage the distribute the traffic to the resources. Those are the at the back end of your load balancer.
Yes, sir. So next question is from Pratik even. So he's asking what is the difference between VMs and hypervisors?
So, like VMs and hypervisor. When it's come to the hypervisor, like the cloud is running, we don't know what hypervisor they are utilizing in their environment to build this particular resources and everything. But when it's come, if you are aware about the VMware or the Hyper-V, so that's what the hypervisor. That's the underlying, thin component in between your hardware. Okay, and your software. In between that particular layer comes into the picture of the hypervisor, where you can define your virtual machines and everything. Okay, that's what the hypervisor and everything.
Yeah, and so another follow-up question is how do we integrate third-party flows with Azure?
uh Third parties flow. I didn't get the question actually.
Maybe he's asking about some other images or something like this, like
Yeah,
images.
like if coming to the images and everything, or maybe if you're talking about any software that you want to utilize for your application. Take the example, like you're creating everything on the Azure, and you want to use the Oracle database, or maybe some other database. So you can like they have their services. Take the example, like Teradata. Like it's more popular solution for the running the big queries and everything, and you can get something out of that. So they have their solution that's in the marketplace, so you can utilize that particular solution for your requirement.
Yeah, and one of the student is asking for the codes. Can you please share the codes with us that you have just quoted on the screen for the boot
Okay,
camp?
okay, code. Yeah, what I will do, I will put down those code to the Lakshya, so that he can put down into the description.
Sure, sure, sir. And also, yeah, does it support maybe? Yeah. So maybe he's asking VMs. So there is one question from virtual machines. So in virtual machines, Windows OS licenses are managed by Azure or not?
Yes, exactly. That's what the last tick that we have did, right? Accepting the licensing. That is something for the OS related licensing, and that's what I have explained there. So whatever the license that you are going to utilize, maybe it's VM, or maybe Windows or the Red Hat. Whatever the licenses comes into the picture, that will you have to accept that, and that will be the part of your billing. So nothing is free on the cloud. You have to pay for everything.
Yeah, and the last question is from Linux Mint. He's asking what are the sizes of Azure VMs?
Yeah, that what's the chart I have shown you. You just go through all the charts, where you will get whatever the sizings are available, and sizings are available based on the general sizing, your maybe your memory optimized sizing also, and sometimes your CPU optimizing pricings also are there. Or maybe you can on the Google just type calculator, Azure calculator. You will get the sizes along with pricing and everything. So you can calculate the sizes and price also. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. You were stuck for a point.
Yeah, it's happened two times. So I'm getting confused. I'm audible or not. Streaming is going on or not. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Any follow up question? Next.
So these okay, yeah, that's it for today's session. I don't see any question in the comment section as of now. So I just wanted to mention this point. So anyone who is facing any kind of difficulty or anything, guys, maybe like if you are facing, if you are making any virtual machines or if you are facing any kind of difficulty in building those things, you can just ask your doubts right over here. In case you get it out after this workshop or something like this, you can ask your doubts in tomorrow's workshop also. You have this chance, or you can just, if you have some serious doubt, definitely you can just, genuine doubts you are having, them definitely you can just text to maybe Prashant sir on the LinkedIn. You have this priority to, otherwise it's totally fine. And I have shared one giveaway link for today's session. So whatever whatsoever you have learned in today's session about virtual machines, about licenses, about all the images and all the security things, you can just go Azure services. You can just mention all your learnings over there, and I'm looking forward to lead some awesome comments. So then let's see what you have guys learned from today's workshop, and let's end this workshop today and meet you tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow we'll be having the final day where we'll be explaining learning about some governance and identity management and all these things. So that's it for today's session. Thank you, Prashant sir, for giving your time. In case you have anything to share with this community on a last note, please go ahead.
Yeah, just I just the way I said, like, we just gonna gone through 2 days and everything, like, this community is doing the very good job. Like, when we was learning, there was no community. Like, even we started our career in the recession where that time no one teaching to anyone. Okay, so, like, even in that case also, like, we got some people who are ready to teach us. So that's why we build, like, to teach, like, people who want to learn from the community and everything. And the community, like, uh, all the communities where I have patch up and everything, they are doing good job to to deliver you the best content, and best content from the very good experienced people. So I will say, first of all, thanks to the community for having this kind of program for the learners. Even some people are from the college life, people are joining from the corporate life also. They are doing the IT job in the IT, but they are still stuck in the some legacy system. So they are getting a chance from this kind of sessions. They are learning too much, and they are switching their job. They are growing in their career and everything. So yeah, you guys doing very good job, and keep it up. It will
Sir,
help you out for everyone.
yes, sir. All the motivation comes from the experts like you who gave us your time, precious time, and out of your busy schedule, out of your busy, job, you just give the time for the community and explain all the terms and terminologies to these amazing community folks. And these the community folks are also very enthusiastic. They just want to explore more about all the new technologies, about the future, about the innovation. So that makes us it more engaging, and it helps us to make and build more around it. And we are coming up with lots of initiatives and online and offline matter. And definitely after this boot camp in 2023, we have some special plans. We are coming with some conferences, DevOps conferences, cloud conferences. So guys, stay tuned for everything. We are having everything with us. We have some experts, great experts who have this kind of gesture, who is giving the precious time with for the community like Prashant sir is giving. So stay tuned with us, explain, explore, and do the hands-on part, because this is how you will learn. No theory will give you the all the learnings. Just try directly jump onto the hands-on part, and this is how you grow, and this is how you learn. And the reason why I have gone with the giveaway link, I just wanted to share this point, because learn in the public. This is what I think. Learn in the public, share what you learn. So this is kind of a habit that I want everyone to build, like share what you learn in the community. Either it's a blog, it's a short comment, or whatever you are learning in the community, or whatever you are learning today, share everything in the community, so that you are getting a good audience building. Also, you are generating your content, and you are revising those concepts that you have already built. So build all these things, share your learning. All these experts are here for you all. So happy learning, guys.
Yeah. Have a good day, guys. Happy learning.
Yeah, guys. Have a good day, guys. Happy learning. Bye bye.